Joins me now. So how significant, Sean, is this meeting, this Africa-Russia summit that's happening this week?
Happens every year, and it's pretty mundane normally, but this year normally they have 43, 44 countries. This year there's only been 17 countries attending. That shouldn't be a great surprise because it's only 10 days ago the Russians pulled out of the grain deal, and the people who suffer the most with the lack of grain, of course, is the African countries. Putin's tried to appease them by offering free grain. He said he'd give 50 tons of free grain to 50,000 tons, of free grain to many of the countries. But in context, ever since the grain deal was signed, there's been 30 million tons of grain provided by Ukraine to those African countries. So this is less than 1%. It won't make any difference at all. I think what's most interesting about this conference, though, was that Yevgeny Prigozhin turned up in the margins of it, seen here, resplendent in jeans and a bit of a T-shirt. But he did seem to be plying the trade of his mercenary groups. There are a number of African countries that are suffering at the moment and therefore could offer. But the very fact he was there on the same stage with President Putin means that he clearly still enjoys the patronage of Putin despite everything he's done.
Okay, let's talk about Ukraine. What are the latest developments there?
Literally over the last hour, down to the Taganrog, over on just about 30 miles to the east, the Black Sea port city, about 30 miles to the east. There's been an explosion there in the city centre. About 15 people have been injured. The Russian governor says that it was hit by a missile. It subsequently turned out that the Russians had shot down a missile and the debris had fallen into the city itself. And we've heard in the last few minutes another missile's been shot down over Azov, which is just a little bit further away. Both these cities are quite close to Rostov-on-Don, which probably was the target. Wider though, Robotyne, there's been a big, massive, what the Russians described as a massive push towards Robotyne that does seem to have broken through the outer crust of the Russian defences. Not a full breakthrough as yet, but it's really interesting to see some progress. In Bakhmut, Ukrainians are making progress in circling Bakhmut, and Staromayorsk there, just to the south, the Ukrainians have liberated a village there. It's only a small village. President Zelensky's released some video, but the fact is that you're seeing this pressure all the way along the front, which has given Russia something to think about.
Okay, talk to us about modified attack helicopters that the Russians are using.
So on the front line, particularly east of Zaporizhia, the Ukrainians don't have any air power. So the Russians are able to use their attack helicopters in a tank busting role to burst open Ukrainian tanks, which is really, really difficult. But the Russians lost 40 of these. That's one of them that have been lost. They brought in a heavily modified with some new missiles, Lemur missiles. These can be operated 15 kilometers away, so the helicopter can be a lot further back and therefore outside the range of the Ukrainian defense systems. This will present a bit of a challenge during this current Ukrainian offensive. It just shows it's not only the Ukrainians that can bring new weapons to bear on the battlefield.
Sean Bell joins me now. So how significant, Sean, is